This is an ABC podcast.
Hi friends, it's Ruby here, and this is News Time.
Hello there, Ruby.
Every week we count down 5 of the very best news stories from around the world. Today, we're going to cheer on some of the world's best athletes at the Paralympic Games. We're going to snorkel out into the crystal clear water of the Great Barrier Reef, find out why the Wiggles are going to need an even bigger big red car, meet a farmer who bought an entire town, and hear why elephants, penguins, gorillas and monkeys make delightful dads. What do you think? Should we start the countdown?
Let's go. Story number 5.
It's always a bit sad when the Olympics comes to an end, but there is one good thing about it. It means the Paralympics begins.
They're like the Olympics, but for people with disabilities.
Yep, the Paralympics are being held in Tokyo, Japan, just like the Olympics. And you're absolutely right. The main difference between the Paralympics and the Olympics is that the athletes have disabilities. But not everyone with a disability is the same, and there are different types of disabilities. Each Paralympian has a category, which means they compete against other people who have a similar level of ability as them.
If there's the Paralympics, they can still compete because there'll be other people who are like them and they still get a chance to do the same thing.
There are all kinds of sports in the Paralympics.
I like watching table tennis. I'm going to look forward to swimming.
So far, the Australian team is doing an awesome job. They've won loads of medals. Paige Greco and Emily Petricola are Paralympic cyclists and best friends. They both won the 3,000 metre events for their categories. Rowan Crothers and Ben Popham are best friends too, and super speedy swimmers. Rowan won the 50 metre freestyle and Ben won the 100 metre freestyle.
That would be really nice because you could both share the glory of winning.
And we get to share in their glory too by watching them on our televisions.
Story number 4.
Snorkeling is one of my favourite weekend activities. It's fun and relaxing to take a sneak peek at an underwater world full of fish, urchins, seaweed and coral.
Coral is a plant that grows in the water, at the bottom of the sea, in the sand.
It does look like a plant, but it's actually part animal. Corals are made up of lots of individual creatures all connected to each other, called polyps. Snorkeling scientists have just discovered an enormous coral on the Great Barrier Reef. It's about as tall as a giraffe and as wide as a telegraph pole on its side. It's made up of loads of tiny rocky polyps.
A really big piece of coral.
It is so big. It was discovered off the coast of Orpheus Island in Queensland's Palm Island Group on Munbra country. The Munbra people named the coral in their traditional language. They call it Mugadambi. That means big coral. Mugadambi is in a special marine area where there are lots of rules about what humans can do to make sure the environment is protected.
We need to save the reef because it's getting destroyed.
Scientists and traditional owners say they're going to keep working together to make sure that Mugadambi stays healthy for years and years and years to come.
Story number 3.
Fruit salad! Yummy, yummy! Whenever I see fruit salad, I'm always reminded of that song by the Wiggles.
The Wiggles are children's entertainers. They sing and dance and they do all these shows.
They sure do. And up until recently, there were 4 members. Lachlan, who wears purple, Emma in yellow, Simon in red and Anthony in blue. Even though the Wiggles wear different coloured clothing, they all have the same colour skin. And there's only one female.
It's good to have lots of different varieties of people. There's a lot of diversity in Australia, and I think they probably wanted a bit more differences because all the Wiggles, they were sort of the same.
The Wiggles have just invited some friends to join their Wiggly family, and the new members are John, Kelly, Sahai and Evie. John is a Filipino Australian and he wears purple. Kelly is Chinese Australian. She wears yellow. Sahai, who's 15 years old, is an Ethiopian Australian. She wears red. And finally there's Evie in blue. Evie is Tarrabalang and Jabugai and the first ever Aboriginal Wiggle.
That is really good because in the past, the first Wiggles group, there was only 4 men. And then the second Wiggles group, there was 3 men and 1 woman. So now I think it's even. And I bet they're really nice.
Anthony, who's been a Wiggle for 30 years, says it's good to have a mix of people who are different ages, different genders and from different cultural backgrounds, because that makes the show like a big delicious fruit salad.
Everyone in the world is in a fruit salad. I think it means that they're all different, but they all fit in some way together.
Everyone can join in. Everybody sing, la 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 la.
Story number 2.
I live in a big city. It's fun and busy. Sometimes, though, I miss the peace and quiet of the country. The city is very different to a tiny little town, and this story is about one of those towns. It's called Hebel. Hebel is on Yuwallara country in the Queensland outback, and only about 16 people live there. About 62 people live on the outskirts.
I reckon it'd be nice to live there, but it would be very hard because the shops are very far away.
The town of Hebel's had a tough time. Locals have lived through a long drought without much rain, and now they're not getting many visitors since the coronavirus pandemic stopped people travelling there. Things got so bad that businesses in town, like the hotel and the petrol station and the grocery store, they all closed down.
That's sad because that's probably the only way some of them are getting money.
That's where Frank Deschen stepped in. He's a local farmer who didn't want to see the town of Hebel disappear. So, Frank bought every single business and opened the doors back up.
I think that's good.
The people of Hebel are very happy that they get to stay. They say that their town is one of the most relaxing, safe and friendly places in Australia. And now they're calling Frank the People's King.
Thank you, Farmer Frank. You saved the day.
I like to say thank you very much because that's very nice.
On you, Frank.
Story number 1.
What do you think makes a good dad?
Being kind, making sure your kid's safe, letting them have fun.
A good parent teaches kids to be a good people. A good parent is kind and understanding.
So true. Erna Volraven works at Taronga Zoo in Sydney, and she's been studying the habits of animal dads at the zoo and in the wild. She says there are some fantastic animal dads out there, like Kababu, the gorilla.
Gorillas, they probably defend for their kids a lot in loads of different ways.
Kababu certainly did. A while back there was a fire at the zoo and Kababu herded the other gorillas into a safe area with fresh air. He was also gentle and loved to play with his infant gorillas and helped Mum when she was stressed out. Penguins make terrific dads too.
Penguins, they protect their babies. They huddle up to keep warm when it's very cold or windy and snowy.
That's right. All male penguins help raise their chicks. In the wild, father emperor penguins guard newly laid eggs for a whole 3 months, while their partners go in search of food. Elephants are also great dads.
The parents help it up and they protect it.
And it's not just their own calves. Male elephants hang out in groups, and the big bulls become role models for the young ones. Erna also discovered that most dads in the animal kingdom don't really know what they're doing the first time around. And the best first-time dads are monkeys, like marmosets or tamarins, because they get practice by helping raise their brothers and sisters. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and the people doing things that dads do.
Thank you for playing with me a lot and making me laugh.
Hi, Dad. I hope you have a good day on Father's Day.
I love you and I hope you have a really good day and you're really special to me.
And that's the end of today's news time. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Ruby.
And keep your ears peeled next week. On top of our regular news time, we'll have an extra special episode answering all your questions about one of the biggest news stories in the world right now, coronavirus. It'll be a good chat. Catch you soon. Bye!